You've seen me do these before, and I talk about full range of motion here. There is no excuse. Use a weight light enough where you can go through a full range. And even when it comes to packing on mass and size, don't neglect a full range of motion. I know you see a lot of shit on the internet and people telling lies, but the truth of the matter is you're going to put more mass on doing full range of motion repetitions and increasing the load over time as you get stronger than you would doing partial reps with too much weight than you can handle. That's how you build massive, strong shoulders. It's not complicated, right? I probably didn't show you anything you didn't already know, to be honest with you. That's not what it's about. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you to make myself sound extra smart, like he knows something I don't know. That's not how it is, man. You generally know deep down what you're supposed to do, but maybe you feel like that's not enough. And welcome back to your mum's favorite channel on YouTube, Cult Strength. Today I am here to show you how to build massive, strong shoulders, okay? Now this is one we haven't done yet. Now, massive, strong shoulders don't necessarily carry over to a big bench press, okay? But there are a few things that we can do with our shoulders that will help our bench press. I will definitely talk about those. But this video is more so just about building big fucking shoulders, because who doesn't want big fucking boulders as shoulders? I know I certainly did when I was younger, and now it's safe to say I have pretty big fucking shoulders, okay? So we'll cover what I believe are the best exercises when it comes to building mass and strength on your delts. And more specifically delts, okay? That's what we're gonna cover today, meaning our actual shoulder muscle here. We'll talk a little bit about the traps as well, because they are somewhat of the shoulder region, but I think they belong more on the back with back training. But we'll cover the traps a little bit because people definitely like to train shoulders and traps together. So I get that. So I'll make sure I cover it, so don't fucking freak out. Now before we get started, quickly let me talk about my programs, because that's what I do, right? I want to quickly thank you to everybody again who's bought the Squat Slayer program the last few days. I released that 4 or 5 days ago, and we have sold a fuckload of those. And a massive thank you to anybody who's bought the other programs, the Bench Press Behemoth, Deadlift Destroyer, and the Barbarian Bench Press program. So I am truly grateful. As I keep saying, guys, when you guys, buy my products, that supports Cult Strength, this channel. It allows me to keep making this content because I put a lot of time into it. So it's really nice to be able to justify that time. And obviously it's really nice to know that you guys are getting strong as fuck as well. I like hearing, about your growth, about your gains. So don't stop letting me know. Drop the comments. Tell me how you're finding it, because I'm on this journey with you. That's why I have this channel. That's why I have the playlist dedicated to each lift, so you can train with me and become a better lifter. Now, we'll get started in a minute. I'm gonna find my wraps and my belt, and then we're gonna get started. Obviously, shoulders. It's shoulders. I'm gonna do a bit of shoulders today as well. I'm still gonna do my bench press day in a couple of days, but I wanna get some shoulders in. I'm feeling like a bit of a pump anyway. It's gonna be fun. Let's get it. All right, gang, now let's start. Now the first exercise I'm gonna show you, I'm sure you've probably done it, I'm sure you've seen someone do it at least, that is a seated overhead press with a barbell. Now, this would be, for me, the ultimate mass builder for the shoulders, right? This is the ultimate compound movement if you want to put size on your delts. Now, I would pick this over a standing barbell press, because I know I'm gonna get a lot of people say, what about standing overhead press? That too is incredible, right? But let me tell you why this is better when it comes to simply building mass on our shoulders. We can efficiently or effectively move more weight while seated because we don't have to worry so much about stabilization. When we're standing, there's a lot of other problems that come with that, okay? It takes it away from being more simple to more advanced, meaning generally, you're gonna handle less weight. If you're handling less weight, generally, we're gonna be not putting on as much size or strength. Now, obviously you see strong men doing a lot of overhead press standing. That's because their events mean they have to stand when they do it in competition. So it wouldn't make as much sense to do a seated shoulder press. But look at bodybuilders. A lot of the biggest bodybuilders do seated barbell press. Why? Because look at the fucking size of their shoulders, man. It's better for packing on size. You don't have to worry about the other shit. It's real simple. So, barbell seated overhead press is our first exercise. I'm gonna do 2 sets, 5 reps. We'll go over how we're gonna perform this movement, the range of motion, obviously how to do it so you can maximize your gains. And again, this doesn't directly at all translate to a bench press, but this video isn't about that. This will translate to a fucking overhead press. Some people don't give a fuck about bench press. Some people want to press the bar overhead, and that's cool too. I get it. I like it. But for me, I'm a power lifter, so bench press is more applicable. I do more of that. But anyway, we'll do a set of 5 here. Now, in terms of where you bring the barbell down to is going to be dependent on your mobility as well. My shoulders aren't the greatest, but I still like to get the barbell down to my chin level at least, okay? So my goal is to bring it just to below my chin and then press it overhead. Some people might bring it down all the way to their chest or the collarbone. Not many people can do that without being in serious pain. So aim to get it at least close to your chin. Okay, we don't want to do short, choppy movements. Easy peasy. Obviously, this is quite a comfortable weight for me, 100 kilos today, just for demonstration's sake. And again, I like to use, I'm not saying you should definitely do it, I like to use more of a thumbless grip for the overhead press. It's not as safe, but my shoulder mobility is lagging a bit, so it just helps. But you can hold the bar how you'd like. As I said, I hold mine thumbless, put your hand around it, that's fine too. Full range of motion is important, especially, you know, I'm saying don't push the range of motion down here if you don't have it in your shoulders. Do that over time, but make sure you're locking out properly. But pretty simple. Now, in terms of reps and sets, this is the main compound builder, the main muscle builder. So if you're prioritizing shoulders, you prioritize this. This comes first in your training session. And generally, we run it like we would a bench press. So you might start, you know, with sets of 6 to 8 in your program, and you'll get that down, obviously, to a single over a period of, say, 8 to 12 weeks, if you're peaking your shoulder press. Now, I'll speak more about programming during this session when it comes to shoulders. And if you have any questions so far, drop a comment. We'll do one more set, and then we're gonna move on to the second exercise. Let's get it. All right, so we'll do a second demonstration now. Pay attention to, let's pay attention to my elbow position, okay? When we're doing shoulder press, we're making sure we're not flaring our elbows either, because let me tell you right now, if we start bringing the barbell and we start trying to flare like this with the barbell, you're gonna have a really bad time. The barbell's fixed, so it's not gonna look, you know, maybe like your dumbbell presses. We'll go over those later. So for these ones, I like to think about bringing, you know, my elbows down kind of in line with my wrists, so it's coming straight down, or as close to straight down as possible. That's probably the most comfortable position for me. Everyone will be a little bit different. There is always gonna be a bit of external rotation, okay, but that's normal. But you gotta find a position that's comfortable for you. In terms of programming with this, as I said, I got, you know, all my squat, bench, deadlift programs, and I would be definitely open to making, you know, a shoulder program. I've had a lot of people ask in the past, making a program, you know, kind of similar to my bench press programs, peaking the shoulders and growing the shoulders. Because some people, as I said, really want big shoulders, or maybe some people's shoulders are lacking. Maybe their bench is okay, maybe they've got big pecs, but they just want those big fucking dense shoulders. I'm happy to help. So if you'd like that, drop a comment and I'll get to work on a shoulder program again. That's why I'm here. I want to fucking help. One more set, let's go. And also I keep my feet under me so I can still get a bit of leg drive. Okay, so I'm still pushing through the ground for some stability. They're not just flapping around. Easy peasy, as it should be. And that's the barbell seated overhead press. That is, for me, as I said, number one shoulder muscle building compound exercise you can do. Obviously, we'll cover isolation work as well in this video, and we'll cover very specific stability exercises you can do that will not only help your bench press, but also your overhead press, because we need stability as well. We need the small muscles to do their job, and we can't necessarily hit them effectively with the big compound movements. So we tackle them at the end of the session. Let's go. All right, baby, on to our second movement. Now, very similar. This is a seated dumbbell overhead press. It's similar, but not the same. If I was you, I would be doing both. Why is that? Well, the barbell movement is our main heavy compound movement, right? We can overload that movement a little bit more, maybe. We can move a bit more weight. Because now with the dumbbells, we have an added layer of difficulty. Now we're introducing a bit of stability, right? Unilateral work. So it's more difficult than the barbell. And also, for me personally, I can move with dumbbells through a greater range of motion. So again, it's hitting areas of my shoulders, hitting ranges of my shoulders that I can't necessarily get to with the barbell. So that's why I like doing both of them. If I was gonna, I don't do both of them per se, because my priority is bench press, right? But if I wasn't benching, you bet your ass, it'd be heavy seated overhead press. And then it would be dumbbell overhead press. See the pattern though, right? My bench press training, the main compound movement is a flat bench with a barbell. Then I move on to either incline dumbbell work or overhead dumbbell work. So the patterns remain the same. It's very similar, especially with programming as well. So yeah, I'm gonna give you a demonstration. You've seen me do these before, and I talk about full range of motion here. There is no excuse. Use a weight light enough where you can go through a full range. And even when it comes to packing on mass and size, don't neglect a full range of motion. I know you see a lot of shit on the internet and people telling lies, but the truth of the matter is you're gonna put more mass on doing full range of motion repetitions and increasing the load over time as you get stronger than you would doing fucking shit partial reps with too much weight than you can handle. It looks stupid because you look insecure, you're handling weights you have no business handling and you don't even know it, or maybe you do, I'm not sure. This isn't an attack on you. I want you to get the most out of your training. So when it comes to dumbbells, if you're not the greatest at them, that's okay. Drop the ego for a little bit. I'm not saying you have to like get rid of your ego. I don't think that's a good thing. But understand you need to develop strength through a full range to completely develop your shoulder. Otherwise, you're not giving yourself the best chance possible. So listen to me if you want to, right? This is how I do dumbbell press. This is how you should do them too. Dumbbell head on the shoulder, touching. Full lock. Now I'm not touching here, right at the top, I'm not touching them together. Straight up, we need that stability. Dumbbell head to the shoulder, and I'm also using a neutral grip. They're not turned all the way out, that's uncomfortable on my shoulders. A nice, comfortable neutral grip. Easy peasy, right? Now, programming with these would be similar in the sense as I talk about with bench press. We come in with our heavy compound movements. We might do 6s to 8s, for example. You move on to dumbbells and you do maybe 12 to 15 reps, maybe 20 reps. It's higher volume exercise, in my opinion, especially if it's coming after a barbell press. We'll do one more demonstration from a different angle, and then we'll move on to some more isolation work for those big fucking shoulders. Let's go. Ooh, not bad, eh? Anyway, one more set of dumbbells. You see a different angle here, and then we'll move on to the more isolation work to hit different parts of the delts, because that's important too, right? You got front delt, middle delt, rear delt, and different exercises target different areas of that, you know, but for the presses, these target mostly front delt, medial delt. You know, the more vertical the press, the more medial it is. The more the press becomes angled, like we go further down towards incline, obviously more front delt, right? But when we're pressing straight overhead, it's generally more of the medial of the delt, but also some of the front, not much of the rear delt at all, which is why we generally do other things to hit that. Still very important, we don't neglect it, and we'll speak more about that soon. All right. Let's go. And remember, to make it harder for yourself, you can do tempos. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, tempos are excellent for hypertrophy and time under tension. So if hypertrophy is your goal, you can always add tempos to your pressing. An excellent tool. But yeah, whoosh, pretty comfortable. We'll put these weights back in a sec. And then we'll talk about some other shit. Let's go. All right, quickly before we move on to our actual isolation work, I'll quickly talk to you about our traps and things like shrugs. Now, I'll do just a little demonstration of some shrugs. I don't necessarily train my traps directly. I do a lot of deadlifting, a lot of rows. My traps are getting a lot of work. And I have pretty big fucking traps, right? I don't feel a need to hit them directly. But if you were so inclined, sure. A great way to simply do that is dumbbell shrugs or barbell shrugs. I'm using dumbbells just for today to show you a demonstration. It's the same movement though, but keep in mind, again, this is something a lot of people get wrong. It's a really simple movement, and a lot of people tend to fucking, again, pick up weight that's too heavy, they can't do a full range of motion, they can't get a full contraction, and they start fucking doing this shit. But what are you fucking doing, man? What are you actually trying to do? Are you trying to rub up against the bar and get yourself off? That's weird, bro. I'm gonna show you how to do it. Whew. Full stretch. So full stretch. Not bouncing. Squeeze. All right, simple. It's a full stretch, full contraction. So let the weight stretch you down and then whoosh, squeeze it up, baby. Oh. Just looking at myself in the mirror. Sup? From out of town? Hey, I would. Anyway, yes, these are good. Do you need to do them? That depends on you. Are you doing a lot of rowing? Are you doing a lot of deadlifting? Do you have big traps? I don't know, man. I don't do any direct work at all. Pretty fucking good. My neck's good. Where is it? All right, isolation work next. Shut up, Reese, dickhead. All right, guys, now we'll hit a little more isolation work for the delts. Now, we're talking raises. In particular, I'm gonna do some lateral raises. Now, with raises, there's many ways you can do it. I'm not gonna show you every single variation of a raise. This is something you could probably figure out on your own which one you need to do, right? So, for me personally, I do a lot of pressing, a lot of bench pressing. So if you're someone who does a lot of bench pressing, you're probably using your front delt more than you know. So do you need to spend more time developing your front delt? That's up to you, right? If you want bigger front delts, then do it. For me personally, my front delts are just fine. I'm happy with how they are. They're plenty strong. I don't need to do any more work on them. The areas that I don't hit when I press is more the medial delt and the rear delt, right? So when I do my lateral raises, I do them with, I'll show you how I do in a minute, but a front raise would more so be out in front, right? Like this, to target the front delt. So yes, you can do those, not me personally. I prefer when I have the dumbbells at my side and I'm raising them up, all right? Now when we're doing this, I'm not throwing the dumbbells up like this. I'm using my delts to squeeze the dumbbell up. Now when I'm doing them, I'm also not going above parallel to the ground, okay? I'm making sure the dumbbell's staying just below the height of my elbow, no higher. When you throw them up, you tend to throw the dumbbell higher than your arm, and your delt's not really doing that much anymore. So I really do it with control, right? When I'm doing it, I'm squeezing it up. And this is hitting more about this part of the delt here, the medial part. If you wanted to hit the rear delt, you can do rear delt flies, right? There's machines for rear delt flies. We'll talk a little bit more about the rear delts in a little bit though. Right now, I'll show you how I execute a set of lateral raises. I'm gonna do a set with dumbbells, and I'll do a set on the cable just to show you the little differences. But I start with them at my side, and I don't let them touch my side, okay? When I bring them back down, I'm stopping them here. I'm not just swinging and bouncing. Yeah, 12. All right, so lateral raises. For me, I love doing these as isolation work. I do these on my pressing days as well. And I also do them on days where I want to hit my shoulders without doing pressing, because it's an excellent way to get a shoulder pump without taking your joint through painful movements, especially if you've done a lot already. Now we'll walk over here, come with me. We'll go to the cable. Now, the difference with a cable and dumbbells is how the load is felt or used, right? With the cable, there's a big advantage here. You have a constant load the entire time, right? With a dumbbell, it's going to be the heaviest here. The closer it gets to your body, it's going to become lighter. So it's an uneven load. With the cable, again, we don't have to go heavy at all with this movement, but the load is consistent the entire time. If you're doing a cable raise, one arm at a time is best. I hold on to something here so I can slightly lean. And I'm not swinging, right, but I'm getting an even further range of motion. Normally with a dumbbell, we start from here. We don't get that stretch across the body. The cable raise allows for that stretch along here. As I say, a full stretch means more potential for growth. Yeah. Really use the part of the delt that you want to feel, right? It's a mind-muscle connection as well. I'm thinking about the middle of my delt and squeezing it up. We'll go the other side. Same thing again. Slight lean, full stretch. We're just going to shoulder level, no higher. It's a hell of a pump with the cable, man. One more. All right, so if you have options, I like to do both. I do like to do both. I like the dumbbells, even though I don't get quite the same pump. I like training with dumbbells sometimes. So it's up to you. But in terms of range of motion and overall effectiveness, I think the cable will be slightly better. But hey, do what you enjoy more, I think, when it comes to that. But I hope that helps. Next, we'll talk a bit about the rear delts before we move on to the smaller stabilizers, which are fucking vital if you want a big press and healthy shoulders. Like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe. You're the best. All right, guys, so there's the lateral raises, or the raises. Now, reps, as I said, for those, a little bit higher than obviously the pressing, somewhere between 12 to 15, maybe even 15 to 20, okay? So higher rep ranges work really well for that sort of stuff. Isolation work should be done considerably lighter, obviously, than your compound movements with higher rep ranges. Now, rear delts, rear delts, rear delts. We hit our rear delts quite a bit. If you're doing a lot of rowing, okay, rowing movements, lat pull downs, you are hitting your rear delts a lot, but it doesn't hurt. And I definitely recommend you do a little bit of isolation work for your rear delts. Now, the first, obviously you can do rear delt flies. We kind of went over flies in the last one. A rear delt fly would simply be, you know, instead of, I'd say it's very similar to a raise, okay? It's called a fly, but again, it's like this. So you're starting from in front, pulling back, right? You can do them bent over as well, like this. Okay, so that's a very simple rear delt movement you can do, but they're not my favorite. Okay, my favorite is, well, I'll start right now, is a face pull. This movement is excellent because it has a fantastic carryover, I find, to the bench press and the shoulder health in general. More so, it definitely helps with shoulder health, therefore the bench press can continue to be happy. So I definitely recommend you use a face pull in your shoulder training. How to execute this movement. Again, it's done wrong quite often. I'm going to show you the right way to do it and how we need to, or how our intention needs to be when doing this movement. Again, higher rep ranges. I'm just going to do a set of 10 to 12 here, but generally you do sets of 20. I like to do a few sets of 20 when I finish my bench press sessions. That's usually when I do it, but if you're training shoulders, again, do it at the end of your shoulder session. So I'm going to show you this movement and one other really simple, fantastic exercise that I like to do for a rear delt. But again, the load is relatively light for this one. It's all about the squeeze, okay? So it's a face pull, so it's a row variation, a much lighter weight, and our goal is to keep our elbows high. So we're going to pull our elbows high, and we're going to pull the ropes back towards our forehead. Hold and squeeze, full stretch. Keep your elbows as high as you can. Now, I don't have the best mobility, so mine might not be as high as I'd like, but the intention is all the same. My rear delts are doing all the work here. I'm squeezing back with my rear delts, getting a stretch through my rear delts here, squeezing in, contracting for a second. 2 more. 1 more. Oosh. All right. So that is an excellent rear delt exercise. I do prefer that more than a rear delt fly, but you know, you might like to do rear delt flies, and that's fine too. But for me, that's what I like. This is my second favorite. All you need is a band. Everybody has a fucking band. I also do this exercise right before I do a set of bench press. It's also good for stability, just like this one. So this is fantastic for shoulder stability, which in turn keeps your shoulders healthy on the bench press. When our shoulders are more stable, we're going to avoid a lot of pain, a lot of problems, bench press or overhead press. Similar for this, right? This is a very simple exercise, a banded pull apart. So find a band with medium tension. Now you can make it harder by bringing your hands closer together. You can make it easier by going wider. But essentially, all we're doing is hands straight out in front, like so, elbows locked, pull your shoulder blades back, pull the band apart, hold and squeeze. Don't go all the way back in, just keep tension in the rear delts. So to the point where you feel the tension come off, squeeze it back. All in the rear delts, okay? Mind muscle connection is important, and it is a thing. Okay, so you got to really think about what muscle you're trying to contract right now. 2 more. Right, so again, not heavy, not heavy. You can do them together, right? That's how I do it. I make it a bit more interesting. It's at the end of a session generally. I've already done the hard work. I'm chasing a real fucking disgusting rear delt pump. Do a set of face pulls, do a set of pull aparts, and then she probably won't tell you to pull out. Pulling is good. Get big shoulders, she'll love it. But also, don't listen to her because it could be a trap, maybe. Next we got stability work. We're gonna go over our rotator cuff, so internal, external rotation, and something called the torch press, which heavily involves the serratus anterior and the scapula. If you're unsure what that is, I will break it down for you, because this channel isn't about big fancy words. I want you to know what I mean. Let's go. All right, baby, we're gonna wrap this up now. I'm gonna show you some stability movements that are gonna be fantastic, as I keep saying, for shoulder health and for your pressing, okay? For your top hand pressing strength and power, you need to have the stability to support that. Otherwise, you're gonna be missing weights and you're gonna get fucking hurt. And this is also a fantastic way just to round out the fucking video, telling you how to get shoulders so big that you can never walk into your favorite clothing store again and buy a fucking shirt. You're gonna have to shop on Cult Strength because we go up to 5XL. That's what we do, baby. Merch dropping very soon for the big boys. And if you're smaller as well, we have smaller sizes, it's okay. Not everyone's big, but we got fucking merch for you. Or we will anyway, very soon. Trust me. Now. Internal, external rotation. Very simple work. These are very simple exercises I'm gonna show you. 3 movements, they won't take long, so fucking hang around and watch it, or I will drink all your chocolate milk the next time I come over to see your mother. Now we'll start with an external rotation, okay? Now keep in mind, it's gonna be very light for this movement. We're working the rotators, the very small muscles, the ones that we don't hit really with our big compound movements. So, also you can do it with a band. You don't have to use a cable. It's very simple to do this with a band. Definitely don't use a dumbbell. I see people using a dumbbell all the time. Just don't do it, it doesn't make sense, okay? The load isn't right. Now when we're doing this movement, elbow at the side, okay? Pull your scap back, so retract your scapula, get nice and stable, and all I'm doing is externally rotating that way, okay? Now, you're doing your best to keep your elbow at your side. It might not stay pinned to your side. We're doing our best. Now my right side, this is my bad shoulder at the moment, right? There's not much range in my external rotation, that's okay. I need to work on it. But this is all it is. Holding and squeezing, all right? Now, we'll do the other side. External rotation. This one won't feel as gross on my shoulder, so it should be a little nicer. Elbow at my side. That's a little better, this one. And again, rep ranges, I'm only gonna do sets of 10 just to demonstrate, but sets of 20, definitely. At the end of a session, don't do them before. We don't wanna fatigue the rotator cuff, but we wanna make sure it's strong, so we do it after our session, and gradually over time, it's gonna get stronger. Now, external rotation, a bit different, right? Elbow at the side, we start here. Now we're pulling in, so internal rotation. Two more. This shoulder fucking sucks at the moment. Jesus. Other side. All right. It doesn't take long to do, and I mean, I'll be honest with you, I get lazy with this sometimes. I could definitely be doing more, but do your best to get your stabilization work in. It's not flashy. They're not muscles you can really see. You can't get a pump and be like, oh, look at my rotators, you know, but it's still a very good exercise. So internal, external rotation. Now torch press. This movement is a little different. You might not have seen this one. It's like the Statue of Liberty, right? AKA Venus, AKA Lucifer, but that's a story for another time. All right, so now we're training the serratus anterior and our scapula. Well, our serratus anterior inserts into our scapula. Our serratus is that when people get really lean, like bodybuilders, you see that muscle in here that kind of looks like lines, right? That's the serratus anterior. So that inserts into the scapula. So we need to have control of our scapula. This is what this movement is for. If you hold a dumbbell, a really light dumbbell, I've got 5 kilos, all right? Holding it here. All I'm doing is keeping my body still, and I'm using my serratus and my scapula to slowly move the torch up, hold, control with the scapula back in. Okay, very controlled movements. It doesn't have to be heavy, it just needs to be done controlled. This is about stability. We're not trying to move heavy weights, we're trying to set ourselves up to have a big press in the future. I'm sorry if you can hear that beeping. There's someone reversing a fucking truck outside. Trying to make fucking YouTube content! Oh, sorry. I don't have anger issues. So really think about the mind-muscle connection, the serratus and the scap. Oh, Lady of Liberty. Ooh, yeah. We'll go one more. All right. So again, that's to be done at the end of the session. Walk it back over. But that's how you build massive, strong fucking shoulders. It's not complicated, right? I probably didn't show you anything you didn't already know, to be honest with you. That's not what it's about. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you to make myself sound extra smart, like he knows something I don't know. That's not how it is, man. You generally know deep down what you're supposed to do, but maybe you feel like that's not enough because it's like you already know it. You already know everything you fucking need to. You just got to put it into practice and execute it, you know what I mean? It's not complicated shit. Like, I'm always honest about that as well, even with my programs. Like, I don't make programs to try and be complicated or to try and do something that no one else has done, because it makes no sense. I make programs that work. They don't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be crazy. It's just got to work. But yeah, I hope this video helped. Make sure you like this video, drop a comment and subscribe. And also, if you want 10% off all of my programs, all of my merch, which is coming very soon, and the equipment such as wrist wraps and straps, which I haven't got yours yet, by the way, fucking order some, because they're going to be all gone, and you'll be sad, and you'll tell your mum, and then she'll get cranky at me because I didn't get you a pair for your birthday or Christmas or whatever it is, sport. Jesus Christ, you're a grown man, just fucking get your wraps. Anyway, cultstrength.square.site. If you want my programs, any of that stuff, as I said, 10% off if you're a member here on my YouTube channel. But until next time, I think you know what to do. I think you do know what to do. You have to go to the fucking gym. You have to go and do something. If you do shoulders or fucking legs or whatever, stop touching yourself. We're back tomorrow. It's squat day. Week 2 of the Squat Slayer program. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm gonna go now. But until next time, I already said it, blah, blah, blah. Go to the fucking gym. See you later.